Hey, it's Mazzy. It's the Music Stupid. Five selections. One is a grouping, so there's a little extra selection in the grouping here. And these they have the connection being all reissues, reissued records of some amazing titles, I think important titles of various genres. But I want to start out with Thelonious Monk's album, and this is Brilliant Corners. Kraft Records just announced their next small batch collection. This is how the small batches arrive. I think I have 2 out of the 4, I believe. I'm not all in on these. I decided to choose them based on title if I feel I need it, if I love the title. This happens to be the Relaxin' with Miles. I love this record. Now, those of you who've been watching me, at least several of my videos, know that I'm not a big fan of single records in boxes. It's a case with this. However, if you're going to do a box, this is the way to do a box. A slipcase. I mean, it's just so minuscule. You can probably fit 3 of these slipcases in one UHQR or one step from Mobile Fidelity. So I think it adds a premium. Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary at all. So I digress on that, but let's go back to this wonderful album. This is the 3rd album that Thelonious Monk recorded for Riverside Records, produced by the great Orrin Keepnudes, his label. This is a really wonderful album, and I think it's an essential album for any jazz collector. It's an adventurous album, yet it's accessible. It has a lot of the musicians he had been recording with, including Sonny Rollins, Oscar Pettiford, the great Max Roach on drums, and Ernie Henry. And then, of course, there are other musicians that are on some of the cuts. Clark Terry, Paul Chambers replaces Pettiford for a track or 2. Paul Chambers I'm a big fan of. I love his kind of bowing on his bass. Sometimes he'll play it like a viola or like a cello in essence. But this is a great hard bop record. And it's a complicated record at times. The opening track, Brilliant Corners, had, apparently the story goes, it was a very, very challenging record for the sidemen to play. And they had to record it numerous times, I think over 25 takes, which is kind of rare in the jazz in the jazz world in terms of studio recordings. And so Orrin Keepnudes, I think, had to splice 2 or 3 versions of it together, various takes together to make one solid final take. There's some beautiful music on here too with Penonica, that open side too. But this is a great record, and I happened, and I don't remember why. Now this is an OJC from the early 80s, 1983, I believe. Original jazz classic, and it sounds really good. I do have a copy without a cover that I keep along with this. This is an earlier pressing, not a first press. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to order the small batch single origin blend 1 drip of the Kraft yet. I adore this record. There hasn't been an OJ since the 80s, I believe. It would be good to do an OJ, but obviously they've opted at this point to do the single origin, small batch, 1 step. But I highly recommend this record if you don't have a copy. It is hard to find early copies of this, although I believe on Discogs from $10 to $30 you can find the OJC. So maybe start there if you don't want to go the $100 for the single origin batch. But fantastic record. Then something that is such a wonderful record from my point of view. And this is the first time on vinyl, or maybe it had a limited release when it first came out. But this is Super Furry Animals' Phantom Power. They're the Welsh band. Their other record that was just prior to this, Rings Around the World, is one of my all-time favorite albums of the last, 20 years, basically. This is a close second. Sometimes I go back and forth which one I like better. I love this great die-cut cover. It is on 2 LPs here. Has lovely inner sleeves and lyrics. Now, if you don't know Phantom Power, if you don't know Super Furry Animals, they're this hybrid of psychedelic electronic pop music, a little bit in the later Brit scene, Britpop, but they got more of an intensity, a little bit of a dance thing occasionally. But their songs are very melodic and very intensely produced. And there's a lot of things going on in the mix in their songs. I just love the band. Opens up with Hello Sunshine, which is a great opener. Very Beatlesque also in the modes of 10cc. Not the same kind of harmonies like 10cc. They're not blended like that together. But they're just a fantastic band. And they were the first band, as far as I know, that with Rings Around the World issued their first, that album on Surround Sound 5.1, which is amazing. And then the two times I saw them on that tour in San Francisco, they actually brought in a surround system with speakers throughout the venue, Fillmore being one, and another smaller club in North Beach, San Francisco. But there's one of the songs on here, which is called The Piccolo Snare, which is maybe, if I had to pick one, my all-time favorite song of Super for Animals. It's just, it is an epic song, and I failed to bring that, include that in my epic song video, but it is just that. It's a great song about Venus and Serena, of course, the sister tennis players. But they have just a really funny, quirky lyric content as well. But what a great band this was, and obviously they're no more, at least for now, we'll see. But they're reissuing their albums on vinyl little by little. So I highly recommend. This just dropped, I believe, the day I'm posting this video. Phantom Power by the Super Furry Animals from Wales. Fantastic artist and just a killer record. One of my favorite records of late, of ever. One of my favorite records. Should be on a desert island with me. That is so passé, isn't it? Now, this is a record that was reissued recently. It came out originally on Warner Brothers. And it's just the title is perfect. The title is called Floating in the Night. And this is Julie Cruz. And this was produced by David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti. We lost both Julie Cruz and Angelo Badalamenti in the last year or two, as I recall. She was sort of the voice and the musical presence, identity of Twin Peaks, the David Lynch TV show, then later the film. And in that original TV show, there's a scene of her at the diner, the Roadhouse, I guess it was, singing this. And she's got this sort of floating, atmospheric tone to it. There's been a lot of artists sort of in this vein since. And I don't know if she was the original of that genre. What is it? Like that dream pop type thing, but if you know what David Lynch likes and the kind of music he uses, that's exactly what this is. But this was recently reissued on Sacred Bones. I believe that's a Brooklyn label, and it's great. It's just a wonderful record, and originals go for a bit of money, so I highly recommend checking this out. It's just a really serene, wonderful record. There's a series of records put out by Jackpot. That's a retail store actually, in Portland, Oregon. And I've been there several times. And they put out 3 Meters records, all cut by Kevin Gray. Now, I bought 2 out of 3. I bought Struttin' by the Meters, and I bought Look a Pie Pie by the Meters. These were, I'm not sure if they're all produced by Alan Toussaint, or co-produced possibly. This one also came out. I already have this, so I did not order it. These were originally on Josie Records. Now, who are the Meters, you might ask? Anytime you see Meters records, they also did a series of records on Warner Brothers Records. If you're into the sort of the New Orleans funk, the New Orleans soul, get the Meters records, get any of them. If you like this kind of New Orleans funk, these are essential records to get. And Kevin Gray cut them, and they sound really, really good. I finally put them on last night, and obviously I'm not comparing them to originals. I don't have originals of these. I did compare it to this. This sounds really good. There's probably a little more mid-range and bass on this one, even though it's not the same music. You get a sense of it. But if you have originals, maybe you don't need these. But since they are so hard to get right now and commanding a bit of money, this is a great way of getting. I would get them sooner than later. I believe the first 500 were in colored vinyl. One is green, one is blue. Then I believe they will become out standard black vinyl. So either way you go. Well pressed, the cover's a little light, but they're a little pricey at $35 for the lightness of the cover and the paper sleeves, but it's about the music, stupid, remember. So I highly recommend checking out the Meters if you don't know. Listen to their stuff on YouTube or wherever you stream if you do that sort of thing, because they have a great New Orleans funky soulness to them, a lot of instrumental stuff, and just really, really an important band. And Alan Toussaint contribution and collaboration with them, just great records. Lastly, this record is not new by any stretch. This is the 2005 comp of Donovan. Now, I just heard about this record, and I'm all in on Donovan. I have everything Donovan's ever put out. I am a huge fan. He didn't really get his due in UK issues in the 1960s, and Pi really screwed his stuff up, and he was bigger really in America. Of course, this contains 2 records. One is 33 1/3, and it contains the folk records he did that were popular when he was doing more of the, quote, Dylan thing, and Dylan mocked him in the documentary Don't Look Back. But I think Donovan is the real deal. Catch the Wind, Colors, the hit version, it says, Universal Soldier, the Buffy St. Marie song, Sunny Good Street, and a bunch of really great songs. Also has the album version of Colors. You get both versions. Side 3 and 4 are cut 45 RPM and have 4 of arguably his biggest hits in America, especially Sunshine Superman, Mellow Yellow, Hurdy-Gurdy Man, and Atlantis. Hurdy-Gurdy Man, is it partial Led Zeppelin on there? Is that Jimmy Page? Sounds like it. I think it is. You decide. I know it's been debated over the years. But what's interesting about this, despite the cheap-ass cover here, this is an audiophile record from 2005, and this is cut by Steve Hoffman. And I've never heard these Donovan songs sound better. This is a stunning pressing. This, if you like Donovan, you need to seek this out from 2005. This came out on the audiophile label, Audio Fidelity, in 2005, and that was a label pretty much everything was cut and mastered by Steve Hoffman and Kevin Gray. Wonderful records. Again, I never noticed this, and if I had, I probably would have passed on it because of the cheese-ass cover on here. It is a gatefold. It's interesting that, again, the later stuff from 66, 7, 8 is the stuff at 45 RPM. The other stuff is 33. But this is an amazing sounding record. I would seek it out. I've seen it now go for $70 up as a double album, long out of print. But if you're a Donovan fan and you really want the best of Donovan, I highly recommend this. I'm all in on Donovan, so I think this is a really a cool record. Wonderful sounding recording and version of this. Well-pressed, quiet record. This is the kind of stuff that I love that came out. I think more of this should come out today, but you never know. As I said before, I'm really hoping that at some point someone puts out Sutras on vinyl. That is the soul album produced by Rick Rubin of Donovan, and it's an amazing record, only on CD. I think there was a very limited vinyl press run, hard to get if you can even get it. So that is one I would love, because it's a really gorgeous sounding record. So that's it, Some Music Stupid. I'll see ya on the road, from the road. Mazzy loves you.